Hi, I'm Lasse and this is my channel F1 Follower. And this is a review of Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and a bit about the qualifying also. So, race results, Verstappen won from Leclerc. It was a tight race. Leclerc was like half a second behind Verstappen at the finish line. And uh, Verstappen overtook Leclerc twice and Leclerc once overtook his place back. And Sainz was about 10 seconds behind those two, and also Perez was 1 or 2 seconds behind Sainz at the end. So Leclerc leads the driver standing still, as Verstappen didn't manage to score any points last week because of the problems with fuel pump or fuel feeding. Perez was a pole sitter, but he got very unlucky with the safety car when Latifi crashed. Perez had just stopped for hard tires and everyone else pitted under the safety car and he fell down to fourth and couldn't really manage to put up a fight with Sainz. He could follow him in 1 to 2 seconds, but not overtake Sainz. Reliability was huge factor today. Bottas, Alonso and Ricciardo all broke down at the same point about lap 30. And that also bring on a virtual safety car, but Magnussen managed to make a pit stop at that point, but almost everyone else didn't because Alonso's and also Ricciardo's car were on the pit straight. They managed to crawl almost to the pits, but then they both stopped on the pit straight and the pit lane was closed. So, for example, Hamilton would have wanted to make a stop, but couldn't because of the closed pit lane. McLaren was an upswing. Norris fight against Ocon at the end, about 6th place. Ocon just managed to hang on there. Actually, Norris was ahead of Ocon before the last lap, but Ocon overtook Norris on the last lap, beginning of the last lap, and just managed to hang on to the 6th place. But McLaren seemed much better now. Well, there was the reliability problem with Ricciardo, but that is very expected that there will be some teething issues with the cars, with the new rules. And it was quite hot today, so it was part of the problem probably for all of the teams. And Mercedes is I can quite confidently say that Mercedes is a midfield team. They are not challenging for podiums at this point if Ferrari and Red Bull don't break down. Russell was 5th, Hamilton was 10th, probably 10th, and he was yesterday he was 16th on the qualifying, so he dropped out on the first part of the qualifying, and really he did overtake some cars, but really couldn't challenge for any higher than the 10th. For example, Magnussen just purely drove away from him in the end of the race when both were using quite new medium tires. And well, I have talked almost every team at this point. No, well, yeah, the top teams are those two on the podium again, Red Bull and Ferrari, and then there's the midfield, quite balanced and tight midfield. Mercedes is a bit higher than maybe Alfa Romeo, Haas and Alpine. not maybe in that order those three teams, but they are very equal at this point. And then there's also Alpha Tauri, which is a bit behind those, but Gasly was firmly on the points today. I think he was 8 at the end. So good racing there, but Williams and Aston Martin are quite way back. Like, they are not on another planet, but they really can't challenge for the point at this moment. But let's see what happens for the first 5-6 races. There will be, I think, maybe or probably quite big updates, and teams find the balance on the cars and right setup and know how the tires start working. So there might be quite big swings, but I don't think Aston Martin or Williams will rise from the bottom. But let's hope that they can challenge for points in many races this year. But I believe those are the bottom two teams. Tsunoda has been quite unlucky for this point for both races this season. Last week he couldn't take part on the free practice 3, and also that screwed his qualifying, and now he couldn't start today at all. So let's see what happens with him. He needs a good season, and on this point he has been good when he has been driving, but he has not been able to drive so much. And also Mick Schumacher didn't drive today at all after qualifying crash. Probably because of not an injury, but they wanted to play it safe that after so big crash they didn't want to put him on the car, and probably also the car was completely gone and beyond repair. So even if he would have liked to drive, he couldn't drive, I think. Tomorrow or next week I will take a deep look on the data that what happened today, but these were my initial thoughts about this race, and I think that's all for now. Let's see you next week.